What's up, guys? So in one of my previous videos, I talked about doing almost like a review of breeders or of people who we've gotten animals from. New animals moving forward. There might be a few animals that I talk about in future videos that I've already had since before this comes out, or even obviously before I get their video out. But it's going to be more so the recent animals, the recent additions, so to speak. This one is actually for a species that I just got 3 days ago, I think. 3 or 4 days ago. And guys, let me tell you, I'm stoked. I got a heck of a deal. Not even really sure how I lucked out. But I got another dream species, and I'm just blown away, you know? I ended up getting a unrelated pair of Cyclura Lewisi hybrids, or Lewisi hybrids, or Cayman Blue Iguana hybrids, Grand Cayman Blue hybrids, however you want to word it. And typically, there's been a lot of different hibernations, different hybrid species, different species combining and making a hybrid. But generally, when you're talking about a Lewisi hybrid, it is typically with a Cuban rock iguana, or Cyclura nublia, something like that. Regardless, these guys are obviously, again, crossed with Cuban rock. You can't own a Grand Cayman Blue in the States, at least. You're not supposed to, whatever. They are still technically endangered, and thanks for the conservation, they've actually made a huge recovery on their island, which is awesome. Now, the Cuban rocks come from the same area, but a different island. They are their own species. Same with the rhino iguanas. Same area, but on their own island. They are all technically rock iguanas. There's a few other species, I believe, at least one or two. Don't hold me to it. But regardless, I can't really show these animals live, quote unquote, like as I'm doing the video, just because they are still babies. And as most people know, baby iguanas or iguanas are very flighty, typically speaking. And if you guys have watched my previous videos, I have gotten a pair of rhinos as well, rhino iguanas as well. And that breeder, that's going to be a whole different topic. But after that experience, when I was approaching this whole situation for the Lewisi pair, I wasn't really sure what to expect, to be honest. I've already been basically scammed by one individual selling iguanas, so I just didn't know what to expect. But again, I lucked out and I found Yellow Room Reptiles. Check them out on Facebook, on Instagram. Their animals are of top quality and they're healthy, you know? And that's the biggest thing. It's the health factor. They're not doing it for the money. They're actually doing it for the quality of the animal. So not only is it business, but it's also personal, and it's a passion for them. And it's those types of people who you really want to do business with. My female, I'll put a picture right here, she's just a hybrid. So that's just run-of-the-mill kind of thing with the Lewisi hybrids, you know. And I'll also put a picture of her parents right here. Gorgeous animals, very phenomenal animals. And again, that's your typical hybrid right there. Now, when dealing with the Lewisi hybrids, they come in, I guess you could say, an assortment of percentages. So the female, obviously due to sexual dimorphism, is going to be a little bit smaller. Not much, but a little bit smaller. So I ended up with a high percentage male, put a picture here. And the reason why I went with a high percentage male, and I'll explain a little bit more, but the reason why I went with the high percentage male is obviously sexual dimorphism. He's going to be a little bit bigger. But not only is he going to be a little bit bigger, due to him being a high percentage, he will actually be higher blue as well. And this is his parents. Gorgeous animals. Like, I'm blown away. I really am. It's really hard to explain my love-hate relationship with the Lewisi, or generally even like the Cuban rocks. Their longer faces or snouts. I love them, but I kind of hate them. I don't really hate them. I love them, but I kind of dislike them, if that makes sense. But I love my rhinos. Like, I love rhino iguanas. They look like gargoyles, like an adult male rhino iguana just looks like a gargoyle. Again, that's, my opinion. Yours can differ, whatever. But I have a pair of Lewisi's, guys. Hybrids, again. I have a pair of Lewisi hybrids. And again, these are unrelated. So some people say that you can line breed with no issues. Some people say that you can't line breed with no issues. To be completely honest, and I've said this multiple times here on this channel, I don't have an issue with line breeding per se. There may be some species, or I'm just going to go with that. There may be some species that are more prone to incident when line breeding. I, again, personally haven't dealt with said issues, and realistically, I'm not like on that level to just be breeding a whole bunch of different things and just line breeding, so don't get it confused. But just in my experience, even just looking at others' experience, I have yet to see an issue where line breeding or inbreeding comes into effect with certain things. Now, don't get me wrong, when dealing with spider, ball pythons, again, different species or whatever, but if you breed a spider to a spider, obviously you're going to have issues there. Another thing is, people don't realize, like with spider, ball pythons, and the head wobble, you can breed an animal without a head wobble and get a head wobble. You can breed an animal with a head wobble and not get head wobbles. But in my preference, I would not breed an animal with a head wobble, even though I could still produce a head wobble. And it just comes into, you don't necessarily know exactly what you're going to make. There's always going to be risks, whether they, for instance, with the Lewisi hybrids, they're completely unrelated, okay? The mom and dad for the male are high percentage, gorgeous blue iguanas. They're phenomenal. So he's going to share those characteristics, and the female, she's just run-of-the-mill a Lewisi hybrid. Sorry, run-of-the-mill Lewisi hybrid, just like her mom and dad. But when pairing them together, obviously, they're not related, they're not being line bred, but situations can still happen. Maybe maybe their babies don't come out of their eggs, different deformities, there's just so many different variables, and you never know what can happen until it does happen, unfortunately. For instance, you could have 3 clutches and each one of your the first 2 of your clutches be phenomenal. Your last clutch be non-viable. You know, could be for a list of different reasons. You could breed them first clutch, none of your eggs are viable. You've seen them lock multiple times, but none of your eggs are viable. Excuse me. That could be an issue from the male, could be an issue from the female, or it could be basically half an issue from both sides, creating one whole issue. So, if that's the case, per se, and I bred the male to a different female, some people would say that that's wrong, right? Because the males already produce non-viable eggs. But maybe it was the female's fault. Or maybe they both shared part into it, but the male by himself with a separate female, and vice versa, could produce or could yield excellent offspring. It's just one of those things. There's so many different variables, you'll never know until it happens. So, sorry about the spiel or the rambling on about line breeding. But again, guys, I'm super stoked to be working with these Lewisis. I had the Lewisis for, I don't know, maybe 5 hours, say 5 to 10 hours before I noticed that they was actually eating. And if you guys have been watching the channel, you know that that's huge. That's big, because again, the rhinos are still having issues. Again, that's for a different video, but it was huge to see that these Lewisis are eating and drinking within the first 5 to 10 hours that I noticed. They could have been doing it sooner, but I'm gonna say between 5 and 10 hours after me owning them, they was eating and drinking phenomenally. So they was already adapted well enough to be comfortable to eat and drink. That really shows for the breeder, because some animals, for instance, the leopard geckos, I've gotten some leopard geckos, even some snake species that won't eat for over a week. Obviously snakes, they should eat every week, or only once every week, whatever. But some of the snake species have taken literally 3 to 4 weeks since owning to get them to eat. And then the leopard geckos, I've had the leopard geckos, which should basically eat every day, if not every other day minimum. But I've had leopard geckos go a week and a half, even up to 2 weeks without eating since getting them. So it's all about comfortability and stress levels. And obviously these animals were already worked with, and that's awesome. Again, that says a lot about the breeder. It shows that they actually put work into their animals. That, again, that's really who you want to go through when you're getting animals. These guys, phenomenal people. Ryan and Jessica, you know, big thanks to you guys. Like, I really can't thank you guys enough. I really can't wait till the male is huge. He's going to be another channel mascot, so I really hope that you guys like him. I don't have names yet for either the male or the female, so if you guys can think of anything, leave a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. If I choose one of your names, one of your name suggestions, I'll pin it. All right, guys. Try to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content and if you want to see more of it, obviously. But that's going to be all. I hope you guys have a very Merry Christmas, and I'll see you before the new year. All right, guys. Love you.